Hey yo, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and this mom is angry, and when you hear the reason why, it should not shock you anymore when we realize just how warped our school systems have become. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our great sponsors over at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have the cure to buy inflation and Harris economics, but more on that later. Now, let's dive in.
I just want to know what it is that makes a drag show family friendly. Because if you follow it to its logical conclusion, you can slap family-friendly titles on anything. You can have family-friendly gentlemen's clubs, family-friendly strip shows, family-friendly 50 Shades of Grey read-alouds. Will you approve my flyer if I want to host in all the sex secrets of the Kama Sutra for kids and families if it's family-friendly? That's my question.
Wow.
What is it about a grown man, and I honestly, sincerely, as a woman, mean this, what is it about a grown man costumed in a sparkly bra with augmented boobs busting out, a leather miniskirt barely covering his twerking ass with tuck tape on his front while spreading his fish-netted legs as he writhes on the ground, grinding his groin next to a minor, family-friendly? You owe us an answer. No. And you know, you don't get to hide by just taking something down off Peachtree and calling it a day. You owe an explanation and an apology to every parent. You all got caught with your sparkly panties down. And while we have a culture that has a massive problem with child porn, with sex trafficking, you, a little school district board of adults, made the decision to feature an event to hypersexualize young children. Do you want to know that the word that defines that? It's groomer. You all played the activist pimp for an Align Surgical Center and for a 21 plus gay bar. It makes you groomers and activist pimps, and we won't have those sitting on a school board who oversees the education of our children. You all stepped out of line. You should be ashamed. There's nothing loving. There's nothing, let's unite and include, because the logical conclusion of that is you end up in diabolical evil. There are boundaries, and you don't slap family-friendly titles on stuff to cover your
Oh, wow. Okay, before I get to my angry rant, good for this mom. All right, she is livid, and rightly so, because she went there. I don't usually like going there, but you know what? Calling these educators groomers and pimps, that's a little bit of a therapy right there. However, the fact that we have gotten to this point deeply, deeply disturbs me. I've noticed in my young life, in just 20 years of noticing things from a political perspective, I've been around for about 31, noticing how weird our culture has gotten. Something started to happen around about 2004 that slowly just crept moving forward, and it hasn't stopped. I'm trying to decide the best way to describe this. This lurch to the left that keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. This isn't about freedom. This is an attempt to turn your kids into either activists or numb them to what is essentially grooming. Hey y'all, I'm not exactly looking at retirement anytime soon, but my parents are, and friends of my parents are, and I'm sure either you or someone you know is looking at retirement and wondering, what do I do? How do I help prepare for this in this economy with this terrible president and with a vice president who basically coup d'etat'd him and is now looking to run for president herself? How do you protect against this? Well, simple. You go over to my friends at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have something called the Retirement Package Plan. This plan backs your wealth with gold and silver accounts. And furthermore, you will have direct access to these accounts. So you're not at the whims of Wall Street. You're not at the whims of inflation. You are in command of your own destiny. As a bonus, qualified applicants can receive up to $10,000 in free silver, plus a couple of other little goodies that they're going to package up for you, and you're going to be able to protect your wealth and your retirement. So go over to this link in the description below at colonialmetalsgroup.com or call this number 800-203-0422 and see how they can help you prepare for retirement today by backing your account with gold and silver. Don't delay your retirement, folks. Protect the money that you earned with Colonial Metals Group. They're here to help. And it's this obsession with children because you, like a good little communist, you want to get them while they're young. Mao Zedong realized that during his tenure, and we all know how that turned out with over 70 million of his own people dead from his stupid policies. Having leftists around, it's not a bad thing. There are people who swing certain ways and deserve to be protected. This, however, is not something to ever condone. Drag, you can dress in drag all you want, all right? If you like what RuPaul's putting out there, fine. Just don't do it in front of kids. Is it that hard for these people to not groom these kids? This has been a running theme for about 10 years now, okay? Fortunately, people are waking up to this and are putting a stop to it and calling out the teachers. One of the few good things that happened during lockdowns was the fact that parents had the time to look at their kids' curriculum and go, wait a minute, what are you learning? What event did you just go to? And they came into these town hall meetings, they came to these school boards and started shouting at these people. They started saying, you have got to stop this. Some of them did stop it, others were escorted out. That is how deep the brain rot has gotten, even in our school systems. This isn't just in California. This isn't in New York, just in New York City. It's not just in the gated communities of rich white liberals. No, this is happening across the nation. All right, because the education system, it's not centralized. And so if you disperse and you're able to capture things one at a time, no one's going to notice until it's too late. That should be a strength of our system, but it's been co-opted. Because for some reason, these freaks think that sexualizing children is going to be a good thing. That is a horrible ideology, and it needs to stop. We want a secular school that is also a non-sexual school. Keep this stuff out of elementary schools. You'd think that'd be the basic bare minimum, and they can't even hold up to that. People are waking up and turning against this nonsense. That's good. But the fact that we got here at all says something much deeper. And it says that we've trusted these people. We've trusted our educators to educate our kids. Turns out that's one of the worst things that we could have possibly done. What we are doing is not working. It's not viable. It allows the worst of teachers to allow these things. And then the people who actually run the schools, the administrators, they're the ones spearheading this. Because again, the education system is filled with these left-leaning nut jobs. And they disperse out. They don't stay in their blue districts. They disperse outwards all the way across the nation. Rural, suburban, urban, doesn't matter. You can find them in your schools. You know, I've been lucky because pretty much half of my family at some point have been educators in a professional or private setting. And I'm talking about my mom in the home. She was occasionally a substitute teacher and was very good at that. They realized that the education system was awful, and so they put me in a private school. My parents were fortunate enough to do that. That school worked very well for me. As a matter of fact, I got a better education in high school than I did in college. That's something very telling right there. By the way, I went to Asbury University. It's trying to get better, but don't send your kids to Christian colleges. Let them have fun for a little while before they can settle down. And I mean that in a very caring way. Let the kids let loose and then reel them back in after college. But even then, that's a problem because we know our upper education system is nuts as well. The entire structure is rotten. And I know I just gave a brief condoning of it, mainly from a social perspective. But from an educational perspective, from this weird grooming, and then just the brain rot of left-wing bias that is seeped into our system, this can only be purged out of existence. And it's destroying our children. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Political Brawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.